I would find a solution to this mistake, which would ensure that at no time would the town or any of its agencies suffer any reduction or loss in the quality or the quantity of its communications ability into the Highland Lakes part of our 70 square mile town. On tonight, I want to report to the public, as I have already reported to the council, that I have kept both of these commitments. With the strong support of a team consisting of Business Administrator Boker, Chief of Police Young, and Chief Financial Officer Bright, I have negotiated the agreement to purchase back the property sold in error for a price that returns back to the purchaser the full amount that he paid the town for the property and the documented settlement and title charges plus insurance costs that he paid related to this purchase. The agreed to total repurchase price is $25,000. This solution is cost effective and efficient from the standpoint of the use of taxpayers' dollars because 100% of the cost to purchase back this property will come not from taxpayer provided dollars, but from the $1,075,000 in cash that was generated from the town's November 2021 sale of excess properties. The town's auditor has confirmed to us that it's permissible and appropriate for the town to pay all costs related to the purchase and back of this property from this general fund account. For all practical purposes, what this solution means is that rather than the town having generated $1,075,000 in cash from the November 2021 sale of excess properties, with the repurchase of this property being deducted, we will have generated a slightly smaller amount, specifically approximately $1,049,000 in cash rather than $1,075,000 in cash. And at no time since we sold this piece of key property in error has the town or any of its agencies suffered any reduction or loss in the quality or the quantity of its communications ability into the Highland Lakes part of our 70 square mile town. Approximately 2 weeks ago, I provided the council for their review and approval, appropriate background information, and a copy of the repurchase agreement signed by me and the current property owners. On tonight's agenda is ordinance number 22-14, which requests the council's approval for me to execute this repurchase agreement. The council's introduction of this ordinance tonight, and hopefully their final approval of this ordinance at the council meeting on August 8th, this mistake will have been corrected. This is my formal comments, Mr. Council President and council members. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a motion to have the floor open for public comments on.
I'll make a motion.
Items.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Mr. Fury. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mrs. Bucieri. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. Floor is open to the public for comments on the agenda items only and limited to 3 minutes per person.
Good evening.
Good
Hope
evening.
everybody's been keeping cool the past week. Rich Carson, Sussex. My comments will be brief. Regarding ordinance 2214, I would like to know how come those responsible for this error, which was given a heads up probably a month or two before the sale went in, how come these individuals who are responsible are not paying the purchase price personally out of their pockets? Once again, you can play it back and forth, oh, it's coming out of this fund, this grant, whatever. Bottom line, it's still taxpayer money. Number two, it's been a couple of months now. Has there been a report from the attorney that was hired to do the investigation? And if so, why not? And when will it be made public? Thank you.
Well, with regards to your second point, I'll have our attorney address that.
A report's been prepared. The council is still deliberating over that report. Additionally, there has been threats of litigation related to that. A report's been prepared. The council's still deliberating over it. In addition, there's been threats of litigation in relation to the report.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Not to belabor the point, Steve Dunlop, Williamsville Estates. I've not been to the meetings for the last 2.5 months because my son contracted COVID at the high school and brought it home. And after 17 days at home, went to the emergency room and spent 17 days in the ICU. And that was from the 17th of May until the 6th of June. And he's been at Children's Specialty Hospital since. Sorry, I haven't been able to attend some of these meetings. It's been a real crap show, from what I've seen. I find the mayor's comments laughable to say that this isn't costing the taxpayers money. It's all taxpayer money. There was a urgent message sent to the business administrator approximately 2 months before this sale, and it was either ignored or overlooked. In the private industry, somebody would be held responsible. Somebody would lose their job. It's just always blown over like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's only $15,000 plus there's probably $10,000 worth of legal fees to investigate it. I hope we do get some answers. I hope somebody will say something tonight about how this happened and how the business administrator gets an urgent message and either ignores it or gets lost in the shuffle and nothing is done about it. I don't know why there wasn't a follow-up from the author of the message to say, hey, what's going on? I sent you a message. Where's your response? But for the mayor to sit here and say, it's not costing the taxpayer anything because it's just money that we're not getting is laughable. And I think he should be ashamed of himself. And that's pretty much all I have to say. I really hope the council will get to the bottom of this. And I hope we'll provide some answers because it's just not right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. By the way, Mr. Dunlop, I understand your son was made an Eagle Scout and passed all formal.
He did. Through all of this, he was able to get dressed and get his uniform on and had his board of review by a Zoom. And so there was some good news out of this. He is now an Eagle Scout.
Please,
Hope at some time he can come before the council.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Camilla Duresta. I live in Glenwood, New Jersey. I wanted to say that what the mayor just said was very clear. It's not coming from the taxpayer money because it's coming from the lots that have been sold. And he's doing, I can see, and I heard, and I'm pretty sure everybody heard that the mayor is fixing it. And I also wanted to say if there is a investigation to be done, wouldn't that be the taxpayer money that will be used to get a lawyer and figure out what has been already figured it out? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Do we have anybody in?
Yes, I have Bill.
Bill? Bill? Can we try another one?
Yes, Jessica Palladini.
This is Palladini.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I would say that it's shocking what the mayor said, but not really, because the mayor just lies and lies and lies. Seriously? The sale, money received from the sale of those properties is not taxpayer money? I just want to say that if money comes from that fund he's referring to, or even 10 cents from Vernon taxpayer funds to pay $35,000 to buy back the property the mayor wrongly sold for just about $8,500 is an outrage. I say 35,000 because 25 to buy it back and 10,000 for an investigation. The mayor, the tax collector, the tax assessor, the business administrator, they are all indemnified. I'm not blaming anyone specifically for having made this outrageous error except the mayor, whose responsibility it is ultimately. But since they are indemnified, this money should come from their policies, not the taxpayers. It is a slap in the face to all taxpayers to make them pay that money. That money should come from the insurance policies of anyone who had any responsibility whatsoever. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
I think Marcy's fixing the
It's
speaker.
okay.
Technical difficulties.
I don't know what's wrong with the speakers.
Rather sure.
Oh, okay, that's better, right?
Well, I turned them off.
Oh.
Turn them back on to see what happens. Okay, sorry. Frank Petrowski.
Mr. Petrowski?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you.
How you doing?
Fine, thank
I just wanted to say thank you for the mayor owning up to his mistakes. However, I feel if you really want to own the mistakes that were made, it should come out of the pocket of whoever was in charge of leading this sale and following through with, double crossing your T's and dotting your I's and making sure there was nothing on that list that had any kind of value to the township or any kind of value to the taxpayers on it. And the second thing I want to say, if this was an oversight, something so small and minute and so easily catchable, what else is going on? What else is going on with that pump track and that trail that we may have not caught? What's going on with any backdoor deals going on? Any kind of, using municipal employees for doing work and stuff? That's taxpayer money. Come on, guys. Like this is easy stuff here. It's just easy stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peg DeStassi.
Ms. DeStassi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Everybody trying to stay cool with all this heat?
Well, today seems to be a better day.
Yeah, a little bit better. I did want to comment on the ordinance to keep Zoom for the public, but make it a requirement for all council people to be in attendance at all times. I think that it's the right thing to do. We want to see our council people. We don't want to see a blank screen on Zoom. I am in agreement that the mayor is putting out a rose-colored story about the property. It is taxpayers' money. It doesn't matter where it comes from. If we sold one of our assets and received cash for it, it's taxpayers' money. So I do believe what everybody else is saying, that it is the responsibility of the people involved. And I hope that when this investigation is concluded, that they are told with the expense that they have made the township incur, from the mayor to the administrator to the tax people. Whoever is involved and whoever allowed this sale to go through should pay the toll. It is not our responsibility to pay. We either hired you or we voted for you to do the right thing by Vernon, and this definitely wasn't the right thing. Oh, talk to you later. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. DeStassi.
Ann Larson.
Mrs. Larson,
Good evening. Thank you.
good evening.
I do have to add my 2 cents. I'm sorry, but that description of what was said about the money not costing us anything, to me, that is like putting lipstick on a pig. It means nothing. It doesn't change anything. It is our money. It's all our money. And as Mrs. Palladini said, you need to get it from the insurance company. If the insurance company doesn't pay, then the employees need to pay us back. We can't be absorbing hits like this and just keep going on as though business as usual and let's talk about raises and so forth. It can't be done. So, and just to further what another gentleman spoke a couple of moments ago, the people need to be separated from us. Okay, you can't have mistakes like this because there are just too many voids where we don't really see exactly what is being spent, and it needs to be clarified for the people who are writing these checks every month, every quarter. So lipstick on a pig, not good enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to try Bill again.
Hello, Bill.
I was muted before. I'm just going to put my 2 cents in here, Speaker Rizzuto. Let's
Can I have your
pass
last
this
name?
resolution.
Is this
and get
Mr.
on with-
DeResta?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
Can you
you.
hear me or no?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I'm just saying, it's time to move on from this. And you know, I mean, the Stasi and the rest of the naysayers are gonna continue to preach the same stuff. So I said, we need to limit the comments, the length of time for the comments to less than 5 minutes, both on the first and the second portion. That's all. Thanks.
Sean Mazar.
Mr. Mason. Mr. Mason.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Sean.
Okay. The mayor is a professional in professional capacity as the mayor of the township. And this blunder about this property really should go through the errors and omissions insurance policy. And I don't think there should come anything even close to having taxpayers pay. Maybe the mayor should look at forfeiting his salary and then kicking a little extra. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mason. Anyone else?
I don't have any other hands up. Council
Seeing,
President.
I'll make a motion that we
No one else?
close public comment.
Mr. Lynch made the motion to close the floor to the public. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mrs. Bucieri. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving to our consent agenda. Any council person has any request in terms of separating a particular resolution or ordinance from the consent agenda, please make your wishes known so we can do so.
Mr. President, do you want that done now? Because if you do, I'd like to pull 22-196 and resolution 22-197.
22-196 and 22-197. Resolution 22-191, authorizing the use of Morris County Cooperative Pricing Council for proposed improvements to various streets, 2022. Resolution 22-192, authorizing the use of Morris County Cooperative Pricing Council for proposed improvements to Old Coach Road and Pleasant Valley Road. Resolution 22-193, resolution authorizing a sidebar agreement between the Township of Vernon and AFSCME Local 3181 Rank and File Unit. Resolution 22-194, resolution accepting the completion of road improvements project to Breakneck Road, Phase 2. Resolution 22-191, authorizing the award of a required disclosure contract for jet vac repair. May I have a motion to place those items on the agenda, I'm sorry, on the floor for consideration?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Fury.
Yes.
Do we have any comments or questions on the resolutions listed and noted? If not, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Sure. Vice President Bucieri,
Yes.
Councilmember Fury,
Yes.
Councilmember Lynch,
Yes.
Councilmember Shortway,
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Moving to the separated resolutions, Resolution 22-196. The renewal of inactive liquor license, TZ Holdings Company LLC, requiring special ruling in the Township of Vernon for the 22-23 licensing term. May I have a motion to have that resolution placed on the floor for discussion?
I'll make the motion to place it on the floor for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Shortway. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mrs. Bucieri. Comments on this? Yeah,
May I start, Mr. President?
certainly.
Thank you. In-pocket and inactive licenses are a statewide problem that restrict business opportunities. And I think recently the Assembly is recognizing this, and I hope they take action on it. On January 25th, 2021, Mayor Burrell explained the following. The owners of the license would like to make Heaven Hill Farm and Garden Center, which I believe is an outstanding business, and I go there quite often, more of an entertaining local experience and not just a shopping trip. In addition to their garden center and other things that are currently offered, Heaven Hill would also like to offer adult refreshments and live music from local bands. In order to implement this business plan, they needed to get certain approvals from the Land Use Board. By the time they applied for and received these needed LUB approvals at the end of the first quarter of last year, as part of our state's attempts to stop the spread of COVID-19 virus, the governor implemented strict business use restrictions. T&C Holdings advised that they paid $250,000 for the liquor license, and they want to start getting some return on the purchase ASAP, as anyone would. They added that as soon as the COVID-19 business use restrictions are lifted to the point they can implement their business plan related to the use of this liquor license, they will immediately do so. A land use board variance was approved on May 13th, 2020. Additional land use board extensions have been granted. On May 24th, 2021, Governor Murphy announced the lifting of major COVID-19 restrictions and moving forward with the state's most significant reopening steps to date, including the lifting of the indoor mask mandate and social distancing in most public spaces and the lifting of indoor gathering and capacity limits. Because of this, I make a motion that we postpone this resolution until T&C representatives come before the council, explain their business plan, and allow questions to be asked by this council on their business plan and get some kind of timeline when they plan to use this license.
I would like to second that motion to table the resolutions for further
Motion has been
discussion.
made and motion has been made to table. I received a second. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Vice President Bucieri,
No.
Councilmember Fury,
Yes.
Councilmember Lynch,
Yes.
Councilmember Shortway,
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
No.
Motion carries to postpone.
Resolution 22-197, renewal of inactive liquor license, JD Vernon Lodge and Inn, requiring special ruling, Township of Vernon for the 22-23 licensing term. May I have a motion to place this on the floor for consideration?
I'll make that motion to place it on the floor for consideration, please.
Motion made by Mr. Shortway. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mrs. Bucieri. Anybody like to open up the conversation on this?
May I, Mr. President, open it up?
Certainly.
Again, I have great concern when these licenses go in pocket or they go inactive, no matter what the cause. It hurts this township because it hurts our economy. Our liquor licenses are restricted by the state. I believe you get one for every 3,000 people. There's one thing, to expand business in this town, you need liquor licenses. As many of you know, my family's been involved in the brewery business as well as the restaurant liquor business for over 70 years. Therefore, I feel the same should apply to this organization, JD Vernon Lodge and LLC, that they appear before this council again and inform us of what their business plan is, what actions they are taking to get this license sold. I know it's attached to the mortgage, and answer any questions that this governing body may have.
Motion has been made. Is there a
Yep.
second?
Yeah, I'll second that motion to table it to get an opinion, get these the organization to come in front of us to explain what the plans are and to give us more
Roll call vote,
information so we
please.
can make a decision.
Can I ask a question before the vote or no?
There is no. Roll call, please.
Vice President Bucieri,
No.
Councilmember Fury,
Yes,
Councilmember Lynch,
Yes.
Councilmember Shortway,
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
No.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Introduction of ordinances. Ordinance 22-14, ordinance of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, authorizing the purchase of real property located at Block 432, Lot 85, Block 432, Lot 63, on the tax map of the Township of Vernon. May I have a motion to place this ordinance on the floor for consideration?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Lynch. May we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Vice President Bucieri,
Yes.
Councilmember Fury,
yes,
Councilmember Lynch,
Yes.
Councilmember Shortway,
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Ordinance 22-15, an ordinance of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 5 of the Municipal Council of the Township of Vernon. This, may I have a motion to introduce
Council President,
ordinance 22-15?
Council President.
Yeah.
May I make a motion to table this ordinance? This ordinance is not complete. There is nothing in this ordinance that stipulates any consequence for any of the dereliction of duty that's currently happening. I would like to see some wording in there that what will be the consequence for not attending the meeting.
Comment has been made. Is there a second to the tabling request?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mrs. Bucieri. May we have a roll call?
Sure. Vice President Bucieri,
Yes.
Councilmember Fury,
no,
Councilmember Lynch,
Yes.
Councilmember Shortway,
No.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes,
Motion carries to table.
thank you. May I have a motion to open the floor for public comment?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Mr. Bucieri, seconded by Mr. Lynch. Please note that, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Vice President Bucieri,
Yes.
Councilmember Fury,
yes,
Councilmember Lynch,
Yes.
Councilmember Shortway,
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Please note that the comments at this section are for any item and are limited to 5 minutes on any topic or topic. Does anyone wish to come to the podium and comment to the council? Do so.
Getting old, Mike.
Right.
How you doing? My name is Mike Glowacki. I have lived in town for over 35 years. I've been in the construction business for 37 years with PSE&G and now another 4 years as a superintendent of engineering and construction. I feel I know my way around construction. I'm trying to build a patio cover over my existing patio that's been at the house before we bought it 20 years ago. A lot of sun, I'm trying to cover it up, my grandkids, so forth, so on. Went to the town, got the permits, got a contractor. Everything seems okay with the town as far as the permits, the drawings, all that stuff. The town then said to me, I have to go to the Board of Health. I'm like, okay, why do I have to go to the Board of Health? They said, because that's the way it is. That's what we do. I said, well, that's not an answer. That's an excuse. I went to the Board of Health. They told me they looked at my print from my septic system. The print from my septic system is the one print that was done and given to the the Health Council for the whole development. So there's no individual. The lot and block that they have, incorrect. The print that they have has the driveway on the wrong side of the house. So the septic that they have is not in the right spot. They also told me that my septic and my gray water holding tank is under my patio. I do not have a gray water holding tank. I provided them pictures. I brought them pictures of where the septic cap is and where the leach field is. They said to me, well, now you have to get a septic person in to give me a drawing. So it's going to cost me a couple $100 to get a drawing that they're going to tell me, well, no, you can't do it anyway. Because every time I went to them, they gave me a different excuse. There is no water going in this. It's a roof attached to the house. There's 2 posts on the outside of the patio. There's a roof, no walls, no electric, no plumbing, no, not even a water spigot. And yet I have to go to the health department. Why? That's the answer I would like. I don't understand it. I've been in the construction business for a lot of years. I don't understand it.
This is troubling.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. Any number of things that have, in my mind, that have come before this council regarding, requests for permits and everything wind up to be troubling. Perhaps the mayor can help us or his designee in looking into this?
I most certainly, I'm not aware of this. If things are what describe them, it is trouble. If things are, please give me an opportunity. First I've heard of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, first I've heard of it.
I have their prints. I have my print. I have what's not correct.
Could you come by tomorrow?
During the day, well, I'm working, but
Okay.
what time are you there till?
When, I'll be here. You tell me, when can you
I
come
could-
by? When, not only when I'm here, but when the people in our zoning building apartment area.
Yeah, I could probably do Wednesday. Tomorrow I got a late job.
Okay. Would you give me a call just to make sure?
Absolutely.
I don't know my schedule right now for Wednesday. But
Absolutely.
please do that.
I've been dealing with this since March.
Really?
I've been trying to do this since March. I figured, let me get on it. Like I said, I've been in a construction, I gave them all the right paperwork. I did everything properly, got the drawings done. I wanted to get it before the summer. Now the summer's coming and going and
Are you aware of this, Chuck?
Not till the beginning of the meeting when we started to discuss it, but then the meeting started. I told him I would speak to him after the meeting.
Okay, all right, okay.
Arranging a time.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate any kind
Fair
of,
enough.
any kind of help. I mean,
Fair enough.
Thank you. I didn't get your last name?
Glowacki, Glowacki.
Glowacki. Okay, Mr. Glowacki. Oh, can I call you Mike?
Mike is just Paul worse than that. Don't worry.
Call me anything except late for lunch.
Yeah, right?
But, if you run into a problem and you're still not satisfied, please come back.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, like I said, I just need an answer. I would like an answer to those. They might as well tell me, you got a beige colored house. You can't have a blue car in a driveway. I mean, it's the same thing.
We're working on it.
All right? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Time.
Yeah.
Or anyone else? Yes. Mr. Carson.
Carson again. Just to follow up on ordinance 2214, I'm a little confused right now. The ordinance, as the mayor presented to us, would have the town purchase the property for 25 grand and change. Then when I asked the question about the lawyer's investigation, Mr. Zelinski was kind enough to state that the matter is possibly under, or maybe going under some litigation, some negotiations back and forth, however you want to term it. So to me, this is going to be costing some more money by the time all this back and forth goes on. So which is it? Okay, we're going to pay 25 grand, possibly pay 25 grand to the landowner, but how much more is it going to cost by the time all the litigation and paperwork is done? So it's not just 25 grand, it's not just 35 grand. I'm betting you it's going to be a lot more. Just something to think about. Also, number two, I came in here this evening, I'm looking around, and everybody here seems nice and cordial, nice and friendly, talking nice to each other. And nobody seems to be in any mortal danger or being threatened or anything like that. So with all due respect, and I mean this sincerely, Harry and Mike, it's perfectly safe to come down to the meeting, really. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else like to address the council?
Hi, Steve Dunlap again. I feel like an echo chamber here. I posted something recently that stated, I believe all town council members should be required to attend meetings in person. Harry Shortway and Mike Fury should put on their big boy pants and attend meetings in person. Mike Fury was directly asked by a council member if he had been threatened and responded he had not. After responding that he had not, he went on to say, well, the tone and some of the comments are not very nice. Just don't understand how grown men can be afraid to come to a meeting. I believe there's 5 people in attendance tonight. There's not been more than about 10 or 12 since the first of the year, except for on a couple of occasions. I've been asking since last fall that there be a monitor, at least in the building, so we can see what's going on. You guys can see them. We can't. We don't know when they're online, when they're offline. I know that I have watched meetings to go back and review, and sometimes their screen is blank. And you don't know if they're there, if they're not there, if they're paying attention, if they're not, if they're tuning in when it's something that they want to, and tuning out when they're not. I just believe it's wrong. And I think that should be fixed. And there has to be some penalty if you're not going to come. One of the council members mentioned recently that his company had a policy that if you didn't come to work, you didn't get paid. And it's more than just not getting paid a stipend. It's you're here to represent the people. If you are so in fear and challenged to show up at a meeting, then you should either resign your position or the council should take action to have them removed. And we spend so much money on so many things that I don't understand why we can't have a monitor facing the audience so we can see what's going on and see when they're there and when they're not there. Thank you so much.
Is there anyone else?
Yes. I have Bill DeResta.
Mr. DeResta.
Yes, as to the appearance of Harry and Mike, 2 things. Harry, as you know, has been sick. And that's a good reason for him not to be there. And Mike is willing to come in, but he's not being paid. Where is anyone? You, the four of you, the three of you up there, and the two on the screen. Oh, then you're not getting paid. And that's another thing I would like you guys to talk about is a salary for the council members and a raise in the pay for the mayor. I mean, it's unheard of that you guys should be working for nothing.
Thank you, Mr. DeResta. By the way, we do get a stipend,
Stipend.
modest, but we do get one.
Yeah, well, I feel that you're doing a public service, but you should be compensated. It's.
Well, we do. I mean, $300,000 a year is not.
$300,000. If that's a stipend, Mr. Rizzuto, I'll work for you. Okay, maybe you're burying money under the seat somewhere. I don't know. But no, in seriousness, I mean, this is something that should be discussed. And I feel that the council members and the mayor's salary of $30,000 is a joke. I mean, that doesn't pay his dry cleaning. And we have other things to concentrate on. And let's try to move forward, huh? Thank you.
Jessica Palladini.
Mrs. Palladini?
Good evening. I'm just going to be reading something that I wrote. So if I go over by a few seconds, I ask that you give me the same courtesy as you did to the man who talked about the health department. First, I want to say, get a title search for Black Creek Drive before spending one dime of taxpayer money to improve that road, because there is no evidence that the town owns it. Anything less than that would be reckless malfeasance. Secondly, I want to read a statement that I prepared. 4 property owners got summonses for court for failure to pay vacant and abandoned property fees. One of those property owners is Sean Mazur, born, raised, and educated in Vernon Township, and a licensed architect in all 50 states, and soon to be a licensed planner. Mr. Mazur has active construction permits out for work he is doing on a very historic fire-ravaged home. He has already had electrical inspections and plumbing inspections and is actively doing construction on the inside of the structure, as anyone who visited there would know. He does not have a vacant and abandoned home, and his property does not conform to what a recent New Jersey Supreme Court ruling called a vacant and abandoned property. Yet nothing has been done to remedy this outrageous matter of abuse of power and spiteful and erroneous prosecution. You have only until August to conform to the Supreme Court's ruling. And Oprah this past week revealed that only 3 other properties in Vernon received summonses for court, as did Mr. Mazur. A further Oprah request for construction permits for these properties revealed that those permits were taken out up to 20 years ago. It seems that they may truly be vacant and abandoned, as Mr. Mazur's property is not. I am calling about this council. I'm sorry, I am calling upon this council to investigate this matter and put to an end this harassment and abuse of power that has been perpetrated on Mr. Mazur. Our newest council members were elected by mandate to fix the ills and the abuse of power of our government. Please do what is right for Sean Mazur and all Vernon Township citizens and put an end to this outrageous governing by spite. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peg DeStacy.
Mrs. DeStacy?
Hello again. First, I would like to address the statement that Bill made about us being about myself being a naysayer. I'm not a naysayer. I attend every meeting and I watch what's going on in town. And if I see something that I think needs to be addressed, I bring it up. That's all. Call it a naysayer if you want. I call it good business. Now, as far as the council people being at meetings, they are voted in to a responsibility. Even if they receive zero pay, they are voted in by the residents of this town to do a service for this town. And it is their responsibility to be at meetings to do that responsibility. So I'm sorry, Bill, I disagree with you. They don't need to be paid at all. They're voted. They should be at meetings, period. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephanie DeBrizia.
Mrs. DeBrienza, how are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm well, thank you so much. I have a question. I'd like to state something. I do not think that Mr. Shortway and Mr. Fury should be at home. I think it's actually a little insulting that, Mike, you put up on Facebook this week that you wanted the public's opinion about whether or not you as a council person should be at the meeting. Even a former town council member agreed that you should appear, that it builds relationships with other council members and the public. And all you talked about was your concern for public safety. I don't feel that I need anyone protecting me at a town council meeting, and that sure puts a bad vibe out there if you too are not attending the meetings. You were elected, Harry. Mike, you were appointed, and you're running now again to keep your seat, and you can't even get into the meeting. Are you afraid of us? Because you're talking about public safety. I think you're talking about your own safety. What are you doing home, Harry? Why aren't you at the meeting? Because you were there all year until the new town council came, and then you were afraid of the public. I think it's really, it's upsetting to me that you would put it on us. You're scared of the public, and that's why you're not there. So when I put it on tonight and saw the both of you at home, I think you're sending a really bad message. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. DeBrienza.
Ann Larson.
Mrs. Larson?
Thank you again. So in reference to the presence at meetings, I do have to agree. I think under extenuating circumstances, if someone were critically ill, I get it. I do understand that. But to be doing this for years on end, this is obviously a political statement or a political stunt, one or the other, but it's not appropriate for the members of the council who are present or for the people who are paying these apparently insignificant paychecks towards the people that are representing us in township. Doesn't feel that it's significant when we write those checks to pay our taxes, though. That's for sure. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up again, it drives me crazy. The bills list, when you look at that bills list and the volume of money going out the door, I urge you to please put something in place to put the expenses on a running tally on the front on the front page of the township's webpage with an expense authorization, a purchase order, and we know who signed off on buying what and what it was used for. It's very vague. It's not informative enough in a government that is supposed to be transparent. You know, any business, they don't operate that way. You don't just write checks and nobody knows what's going on. We are the people that are supposed to know what's going on, where the money's going, and who is spending it and who's approving it. So I think that also needs to be clarified much more visibly, as well as any income coming, for example, from the Airbnbs, that tax should have a running tally either on a weekly, monthly basis. So we all know when we go open the front page up, oh, there is X amount of dollars in the fund from the Airbnb tax, the hotel tax, because all we hear about is spending expenditures. And if we had an idea how much is in there, maybe we'd go along with some of these things. But this vagueness and all this optimism about how much is going to come in between the Airbnbs and the marijuana tax, this needs to be spelled out clearly for us in a very easy to read format. So anyone who goes online can see how much is coming in, how much is going out, and who authorized it. That's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Larson. Ms. DeResta, yes.
Hi, Camilla DeResta, Glenwood. I'm just here to say that as we all know, we're still in a pandemic, and I think it's like orange. I think we're back to orange with how high the transmission's going again. So I think it's okay if council members aren't here because they're on Zoom, as in other people who are present here in this meeting, and there's people present on Zoom. We're all in the meeting. If the people who are on the Zoom meeting complaining about our council members not coming, maybe we should cancel all of Zoom, because like, so where are those people? They should be here too, right? And saying how they feel. And then also back to these what we spoke earlier about the property. I forgot to say, I'm pretty sure the mayor and you guys try, or I don't know if the mayor just said it, but it sounds to me like you guys are trying to figure out how to get this property dealt with. It was a mistake, and the mayor has said that he wants the is it the police chief in charge of the properties now? Or I'm not sure who's overlooking that, but I'm pretty sure it's not just the mayor overlooking all these properties anymore. It's someone else. So there's more eyes on what's being sold. And again, if we are gonna investigate what is already being investigated, isn't that gonna be taxpayer money? Getting a lawyer and figuring out what we've been talking about in this meeting over and over again. So thank you for listening.
I have Frank Petrowski.
Mr. Piotrowski?
Yes, hello?
Yes.
I just want to applaud the council for voting to approve that the council members be present in person. I mean, you should be there to represent the people who voted you in, or vice versa. I think it's a slap in the face to the citizens of this town that you're not there representing them in person. I get stuff comes up in life, you know, hey, you may need to take a Zoom meeting here or there, but you know, go back a year or two. The two council members that are currently sitting behind their computer, they had no problem being there in person, but now that the shoe's on the other foot, you know. So I want to applaud the council in voting to move forward with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sean Mazar.
Mr. Mazur?
Good evening again. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to touch base on this. First, thank you, Jesse, for explaining the vacant and abandoned property ordinance and its capricious and arbitrary enforcement quite well. On another note, you know, I came about 3 years ago. I called Harry Shortway when he was mayor, and I explained to him that I had purchased a property from Joan Magora, a longtime resident of Vernon, and she wished to see the house restored, and her and I spoke, and I took on the endeavor, and how the endeavor was going to take quite some time, and how I had obviously paid the taxes and restored water, electric, maintain the lawn, and he basically advised me that there was nothing he could do and informed me that I needed to sue the township. So ironically, that evening was a council meeting in which I appeared, and it's on record. I appeared and I stated what I just stated to you all. And I was advised by the township attorney, or excuse me, the township attorney advised the council to refrain from any further discussion with this individual pending litigation. Now, in 3 years' time, I've addressed this council numerous times about this and stated to them how it's contradictory to anyone wanting to come to Vernon and buy an old house and fix it up, because the township does not work with you. Now, tonight, I hear of people with screened-in awning roof coverings over a patio, and what sort of nonsense they're going through. What we really need here is we need people on the council to do their due diligence and research the legislature before they approve these ordinances and truly understand how it's going to affect people in the township or people who want to come to the township. You need to look at ethics. You need to look at, you should have educational sections where you all get together and say, hey, what can we do and what can't we do? And maybe people will come to the township and maybe our population will grow instead of decline. And aren't we all looking for more ratables? Don't we all want to see the township grow and these trails and this bicycle pump track be used and the businesses get filled? The vacant commercial spaces have stores again? But yet you're picking on someone like myself, a small-time guy that grew up in that town. What does that say? Look in the mirror and say to yourself, what are we saying when we don't want to talk to somebody about revising an ordinance that is deemed by the Supreme Court arbitrary, capricious, and unreasonable? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mason.
I have no other hands up.
Okay, seeing no one else, may I have a motion?
Make that motion, we close the floor to public comment.
Motion made by Mr. Lynch. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mrs. Bucieri. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Council comment? Shortly?
Thank you. The mass shooting epidemic, growing political discourse, the rise of social media, where the facts and propaganda commingle, diminishing the truth, and the tension that comes from a global pandemic cause concern for political violence. Disruptive behavior exhibited by frustrated and angry citizens can prevent elected officials from doing their business and/or prevent citizens from safely commenting at public meetings for fear of reprisal. False criminal allegations by political opponents can result in tragedy in today's volatile political climate, as demonstrated on January 6, 2020 in our nation's capital. Supporters of our most recent elected councilpersons have created with purpose a disruptive environment by their continued malicious false allegations of lawlessness by Mayor Burrell and me, as well as some of the township employees. Our own ordinance calls for decorum at council meetings, and the chief of police or such member or members, as the police department may designate, shall be sergeant of arms of the council meetings and shall be in attendance at the council meetings when requested by the mayor and/or the council president. Although Mr. Fury and I have requested a sergeant at arms at these meetings to deter disruptive and/or illegal behavior, our requests have been ignored. One only has to review the June 24th, 2019 council meeting to see how fast a meeting can become chaotic. Decorum rapidly diminished, disintegrated, including the lights were turned off in a crowded council chamber. This added to the disruption. Council President Gene Murphy requested the police be called, followed by Mr. Solinsky's pushing the emergency button. Vernon police response time was 2 minutes. Although a quick response that is far faster than the national police response, violent outbursts can occur, resulting in injury well within 2 minutes. Fortunately, no violence occurred. However, a government function was disrupted by our fellow residents. Those citizens in attendance were peaceful, caring friends and parents. However, it only takes a spark when tempers are high to ignite disruption, even by very good people. Deterrence increases public safety and freedom of expression. Failure to provide simple preventive measures, such as the presence of a sergeant at arms, inhibits some members of the governing body from conducting municipal business without a concern for the safety for all in attendance. Without the lawful means of deterrence, the tension created by the few disrupts the welfare of all. Mayor, I respectfully request that a sergeant at arms be posted in the municipal hall front lobby during council meetings. This request honors Mr. Rizzuto's opinion that a police officer not be present in the chamber, as the citizens may find the police officer's presence intimidating. Another matter, it's time for the council administration to move forward and tackle the real issues, such as legends, town center water, sewer debt, and operating costs paid to SCUMA for unused allocation. We should also legislate minimum standards for safety precautions to address backyard discharge of firearms during target practice. These issues cost taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars each year, resulting in millions of dollars being owed to the township. They prohibit smart growth and jeopardize the safety of property and persons. For example, the township has 645,000 gallons of allocation per day at SCUMA treatment plant. Users of the system are paying the debt. However, every property owner, taxpayer in this township is responsible for the bonds to reimburse SCUMA for the improvements. Resolution 13-202 increased our minimum payments for sewer allocations from 265 gallons per day to 461,000 gallons per day. We were only using approximately 208,000. This situation needs to be addressed to determine if a legal challenge is possible. Sewer users are spending approximately $300,000 annually to treat air. Since the resolution was passed, $3 million of sewer user dollars have been paid to SCUMA to support their county operations. Both Mr. Rizzuto and Mr. Lynch supported Resolution 13-202, and I respectfully request a comprehensive explanation be provided explaining the vote so I and others may understand why we increased the minimum allocation payments for service when we didn't require it then and we don't require it to this day. In addition, we should focus on economic sustainability through ecotourism and agritourism in New Jersey's Highlands region with aggressive marketing. Address and solve these issues and real property tax relief can be realized, as well as personal safety. Thank you very much, Mr. President and fellow council members.
Thank you. Here.
All right, thank you, Council President Rizzuto. Mayor, Town Council, residents, my comments tonight are focused on one goal: to focus on the topics Vernon wants us to continue to work on. Cannabis. I'm pleased to report to the council that there are business owners interested in starting a cannabis retail store in Vernon. This will help bring much needed tax revenues that the township can use to help lower or stabilize taxes. There will be a written presentation given to you for your review. I hope a resolution of support will be made at our next council meeting. Bike park and trails. I've heard from many residents that they're truly excited to bring an ADA compliant walking and biking trail to the township. This will complement the pump track that will help bring people to Vernon and help with our local economy. I hope everyone on the council can join together and help promote these two great amenities. Finally, last week, we met with Josh Gottenheimer for the tour of the Appalachian Trail. The congressman is interested in our efforts to expand on recreational amenities in Vernon, New Jersey, and he promises to continue to seek funding in the future for those efforts. Water and sewer projects. The water project is moving forward with the drafting of a much needed agreement with our partner Veolia Suez. I'm happy to report that our council president has agreed to put a presentation on an agenda for the two engineering firms at a future meeting to be determined. This presentation will outline the reasons for a water supply in town center, utilizing the American Rescue Plan money approved by the previous council. The sewer update. I'm happy to report the MUA has made great progress on building a new pump station critical to the sewer system operation. We hope to hear soon from our appeal with SCUMA. that will help lower rates for all sewer users. I will continue to work with the MUA on this critical asset. In regards to council meeting security, as stated in the last meeting, I once again call upon the mayor to place a sergeant of arms at our council meetings for the safety of everyone to be placed in the lobby. Once this is confirmed, I'll be happy to return in person to the meetings. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Nguyen.
Thank you, Council President. I wasn't going to speak about the council meetings because we have an ordinance that's in front of us that's going to be worked on. Yet I find the council member Shortway and Fury's comments laughable because they're comparing Uvalde, Texas, the murder of those young children, to a council meeting in Vernon. How silly and stupid is that? I find it laughable that two council members can sit home and point fingers at three councilmen that choose to do their job every time there's a meeting we're here. Now, I understand you're afraid. I promise if you come here, I will make sure nothing happens to you. You could sit next to me. How ridiculous is it comparing it to Uvalde, Texas, and other mass shootings where children and people were murdered? Give me a break. Anyway, I would like to, God damn it, I'm so mad right now. I would like to thank the mayor at this point for putting Karen Road on the finished process of getting fixed. Please relay that message to Ed Babcock for me. I would like to also take steps towards taking 50% of the tax revenue that we receive from the cannabis cultivation plants and use that specifically for repaving our roads and making sure that the Vernon residents have a safe place to ride around. I would like that to come in the form of a resolution as soon as possible. Other than that, I have nothing. I'm done tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch. Mrs. Butcher.
Thank you. I have two comments. Quickly, I just want to say that I was very glad to hear that Mayor Burrell had been able to negotiate the repurchase of the Mondamin Road property. I do appreciate that's going to move forward and we'll have that property back. However, I do disagree with the mayor's view that tax dollars were not used for this purchase. Yes, the property sale last year brought in over $1 million, but those are all tax dollars. The properties sold were not on the tax rolls, thereby distributing whatever taxes would have been paid, collected from those properties if they were privately owned, to the rest of the taxpayers, increasing their tax burden. Any dollars made from the sale of those properties offset that lack of payment. But depending on how long taxes were not collected, what was paid at the auction likely did not meet what had been missed over the years. To say the money used to repurchase the property is erroneous. Every dime spent in the municipal budget is taxpayer money. On a positive note, I too was invited to attend the Hometown Hero. I believe all the council members were invited to attend the Hometown Heroes event. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend. I worked during the week and it was in Hackensack, but I want to acknowledge Mrs. Meichner and Mr. Weimer for having that honor, and the congressman for inviting us to attend. I think it is an honor and a positive thing for Vernon. I'm glad to see it.
I'm sorry, Natalie. I think she deserved a round of applause.
That's completely fine. Yes, she totally does the run. Yes, she does. But it was a really nice event. I'm sorry I wasn't able to attend. I appreciated the invitation, and it was nice to be honored, some Vernon residents to be honored. So I'm glad you were able to attend that, Mayor. And those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Butcher. On a number of occasions, I've been asked as council president to provide security in the form of a police officer. Suggested perhaps a plainclothes officer. My response has been and always will be that I don't believe that a police officer, either in uniform or in plain clothes belongs in a meeting hall where public dissent may be made. I think the presence of a uniform is an intimidation factor by itself. And having somebody here in plain clothes is being deceitful to the people of the township that they guard. But more than that, I've lived in this township for over 50 years, closer to 55. And I've known a lot of people, and I've been to a lot of meetings. And can honestly say, I've never felt threatened, no matter how riled up the people seem to have gotten, whether it be about children, whether it be about sports or something here. And to rely upon the presence of one of our own to protect us against one of our own, I find troublesome. Now, I understand there is that possibility of somebody coming from the outside. But there are only 3 ways to get into this township, and I just don't think many people are going to take the trouble to find out how to do it. I'm sorry, I just don't see this. I consider the comments from Mr. Shortway and Mr. Fury being very disingenuous. I've spoken to them about it. As a matter of fact, I even told Mr. Fury, sit by me, and if a situation ever occurs, Duck, I'll take the bullet for you. So, it was so spoken in jest, because I really don't think that that's a situation that we have to worry about, certainly in comparison to the great number of other issues that face our township. So with that, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn made by Mr. Lynch. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Bucieri. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.